Okay, as promised, the instructions on how to assemble the Econobot. First off, you simply have to take this piece, which you've printed, and attach the upper support to it, which basically means just lining up these holes and then using the self-tapping screws, screw them in. I tend not to tighten it all the way until I get all 4 screws started. And tighten it down. Doesn't really matter when you do this, but go ahead and snap in your marble. And then the servos, they mount like so, in such a way that their hubs are both in forward of the tail ball. And once again, we just use 4 screws, and I will get them started. So now you can see I've got it firmly attached. Now comes the wheels. Now notice when I designed the STL files, I made the hole relatively small because sometimes I like to use these more economy servos like this. And these little economy servos have a smaller screw. These are really nice. These are the ones that have an adjustable center on them. They've got ball bearings. They're really super nice servos, and they're only an extra $1 a piece. I think they're like 12, maybe $13 a piece. But still the same spline, so it should press on just fine. There they go. And then the small screws go in. Okay, and like I was saying, or meant to say, I actually drilled these out just a little bit, just by hand, twisting a drill in there to make that slightly larger for that type screw. And here you are, you've already got a chassis, which you can use. The batteries, of course, will just set right in there. And we have a whole bunch of motherboards that fit on here. Here's one that lines up perfectly, that's got a PIC processor on it, if you're into that. Here's one that is currently got a basic X on it, but it'll also run a basic stamp. Here's the one that I like the most. This one's got a TNC 2.0, which is Arduino compatible. And this one, a little over the top if you're into it, but it's a TNC 3.0, which is really cool. It's got some selectable 3.3 volt and 5 volt power supplies for your analog sensors. But I'm going to set those aside for now so we can continue putting together the other accessories. I'll show you that if you were using this as a sumo bot, you would print this out, and of course it would just mount on here like this with a screw going right through there. Now you've got your sumo bot. And if you were going to be using scanners, these 2 holes here on the side are where this flat plate attaches that you can use to hold on the scanning head, which I think I included in it as well. Okay, but moving on, let's go ahead and put this on. This piece holds the servo that pulls the fire extinguisher down. Okay, so now we have to attach the plate that holds the servo that pulls the fire extinguisher. This actually goes on the bottom. Okay, so get some, I think they're 3/4 inch long 440 screws. It's a bit of a hassle. They go on like this, and then some nuts, and one right here, and a nut, and tighten them up. Okay, and now you're ready for this servo. Whoops. You need to make sure that it's off-centered so that the horn will be towards center, like that. And attach it with 4 screws. Okay, so now we have to attach the wire to the horn. This is kind of important. There's a side that's got the ridges that grab hold of these ridges. That should face down. This wire is going to come up from the bottom, so it lays flush down like this. And then we screw it onto the servo. I'm going to put it about midway. But you can adjust it. If you need more torque, move it toward the screw. If you need more draw, move it away from the screw. And then of course this plate, which allows the wire to move, sits just like that, so it has the freedom to move back and forth. Okay, so now we can attach the plate that holds all the sensors. You can see it's got several holes up here. These are set so that you can screw a 256 screw into them. This is where sensors like grab one. These little guys go. They just screw into there like that, and then the sharp sensors will be able to screw into these holes here. I have taken and already screwed in a self-tapping 440 screw to cut some threads, because it turns out that's a little long for these little 3/8 inch screws, and I'm going to use a longer screw, a 1/2 inch, and then screw it in like this, and another one. The holes are, on my printer, just barely big enough. It's like it almost slides through, but you actually do have to turn it in. And what I like to do, so it's a little bit of a, as you're building it, it works a little bit like the hood of a car, is get it sort of tight so it'll stay while you're working, so you can pop it up like that. And then these wires all conveniently go through here, so they're out of the way, like so. And the last one. Okay, and actually I ran them through this piece as well, so ultimately they'll come up to the motherboards that you put on there. Last on the robot body is this piece, and it just sits on here like this, goes in these through holes, and 4 screws go into this. Okay, and now it's ready. Once again, this top piece will hold any one of another bunch of motherboards. We can still use this basic X or just the basic stamp. You can use a PIC-based one if you're into that. They're lots of fun. You can use an Arduino compatible Teensy, or you can use a 2.0 or a Arduino compatible Teensy 3.0. All those fit right on there, and I suppose if you really wanted to, you can use just a plain Arduino board or whatever, although I didn't make it so it fit that one particular. And then now the last piece, I've already clamped this on. I think that's relatively obvious. The 2 pieces clamped together go around the pump, And this can be a bit cumbersome. You have to kind of go in on the side. We can let that plate slip. Alright. Like that. That goes like that. And this handle just clips in. And voila! It is now ready for your motherboard and your sensors, and you can put out a fire.